I received a text a couple of days ago from one of my clients that inspired this conversation I'm gonna have with y'all today. And the text was around he finna put his book out there. His book's gonna be launching within the next couple of weeks. And there's some things he needs to do in order to shift his mindset in order so his book can sell and so he can position himself as an authority. And around that context, he sent me a text in so many words saying it's gonna be very challenging for me to do the things I need to because I have some family challenges and I'm the only one working. And he didn't know he sent that to the wrong person. I shared with him that I also am the only one working right now, and I also have a wife and 4 kids. And if you use that as an excuse, you will not win. And that inspired what I'm going to be sharing with y'all over the next couple of weeks. It's this series that I got. It's called The Profitable Author. Now, this is not for people only who want to write a book. This is not for people who is only attempting to put their story out there. This content I'm going to share with y'all is really for any person who believe they're called for more. This is for any person who they doubt themselves. They don't want to put themselves out on the internet. They don't like how they look. They don't like their voice. They think people are going to judge them. I created this for you. And I was so passionate to create this because I totally understood why he was saying that. However, because I'm going through that in my own experience, I understand that though that may be true, it's still your responsibility to create a financial future for your family that is disconnected from you exchanging time for money. Now, it is very easy to say that, but yes, it's a challenge to do. But when you are the only one working, those of you may be out there, you may be a single dad, a single mom, you may be married, just like my situation and the brother I'm talking about, married, the wife got to stay home with the kids. If you approach it from the viewpoint of a victim, you cannot tap into the creativity that God gave you. You got to stop being a victim of your circumstance. And that's what I'm going to share today. It's a series I'm going to be covering called The Profitable Author. Now, again, this content is not just for authors. This can inspire and empower anybody who is serious about their calling, their purpose, their skills, their gifts. You may have a gift to speak, to write. You may want to start a nonprofit. You may want to start a business. There's a certain mindset you have to have, especially when things are not going your way, especially when you're doubting yourself, especially when you don't feel worthy. I'm here to tell you that you cannot reach your next level if you wait until you feel comfortable. You have to take consistent action in spite of that. Now, with this series, y'all, with The Profitable Author, it's really for a person who has a gift, has a talent. Again, this is particularly around authors, but the content on the mindset can help anybody. I just want to read you a little bit of the introduction. All right, so I want to read y'all right quick. Let me go to this part right here. All right, The Profitable Author. At first glance, it's easy to think profitability comes down to market strategies, publishing platforms, or even book sales. And while those may be important, they are not the root. The truth is, what makes an author profitable is not just what they write or how they sell, but how they think. I wanted to share this, y'all, because no matter what situation you're going through, no matter how financially straining it may be for you, this is the best time to be alive in history. You have so many opportunities all around you, but if you see yourself as a victim, if you refuse to show up and act on the ideas that God has given you, whether it is becoming an author, whether it is starting a business, starting a nonprofit, if you refuse to fail, because failure is a part of success. You cannot separate the two. You have to get to success through failure. And yes, a part of that failure is you may not value yourself. You may think you don't have what it takes. You may think you don't have the look. You may think that you ain't black enough, white enough, tall enough, short enough. We have heard all that stuff. This is not a season for you to be motivated or go on education binges, listening to hours and hours of content and yet not taking action. You have to develop the mindset to be able to examine yourself, to be able to clearly see, am I procrastinating because I am fearful? Am I procrastinating because I'm uncomfortable with how I show up? It doesn't matter the truth of that statement, but just understand you are not procrastinating just because you are a procrastinator. Nobody is a procrastinator. No baby didn't stop walking because I'm just a procrastinator. We apply this with kids, but with adults, we give ourselves a pass when we procrastinate. Your procrastination is connected to something that's deeper, that's intrinsic, that's connected to fear, insecurity, doubt. I don't know what it is, but it's connected to something. I want to show y'all this right quick. All right, let me just bring this up right quick. So I want to show y'all this diagram. I hope y'all can see it. All right, I created a couple of frameworks. So this is for somebody who wants to write a book. I have a Find Your Voice value creation framework. And I hope you can see it, y'all. Hope y'all can see it right here. So this framework is going from your voice or whatever value that you solve to creating a customer or finding a customer. Now that may not be the best view. I can't turn my camera around when I got it recorded, but I just want to explain this this framework to you. So what I'm gonna explain right quick is what this I call it the Find Your Voice value creation framework. And all this is, y'all, it's a diagram that says that you go from your voice, and your voice creates inspiration. And from that inspiration that you have is deeply connected to your beliefs and values. And your beliefs and values resonates with your target audience. And from your target audience, that converts to a customer. But you're never gonna go from your voice or your idea to a customer without first shifting how you think and seeing yourself as an answer to somebody's problem. Everybody knows the best business right now to get into is intellectual property. Whether you're writing, everything, first of all, is intellectual property. If you posting online, that is intellectual property. That is right now the best business to get in, especially with AI. So I'm recommending, even while I'm creating this program, is for people who do not value themselves enough to take advantage of the opportunity that's going on. Everybody trying to create a product. Well, why don't you create a product around your ideas, and you can sell them digitally, or you can put them in a book form, or you can create a course. But the number one thing I'm seeing of why people are not doing this is they do not see themselves as valuable. They see themselves as a victim, as I was sharing earlier in this video with this brother. I mean, a great brother, he really want to do well for his family, but again, all he can see is the problems in his face. If all you see is the problems that's staring you in the face, you will never see the opportunity that God has given you. Just like the parable of the three servants. All the third servant with the one talent seen was how his master always collected what he didn't sow, and he was fearful, so he wanted to be profitable and hid his talent. But that was the wrong thing to do. If you focus on the problems that you see, I can do the same thing. Listen, I got a lot of problems right now. Notice I'm not coming on here blabbing about it because you can't help me with them. That's the number one issue, and I think what produces anxiety in our culture today is because we talk too much. You talk too much about your problems, especially the people who can't help you. You talk too much about the things that is not gonna add value to you. This is a moment, especially in this summertime, you got 2 months. Give yourself 60 days to shift your mentality to go to your next level. I'm going to be coming on sharing things that can help you to really shift your perspective, because the number one thing that you got to do, I know you see the opportunities that's happening. You're seeing people making 5, 10, 6, and 7 figures a month. It's only going to happen when you shift your focus on how can you get into that stream versus I'm not good enough, or I never made that type of money before. Listen, I had all of those beliefs. I had to change my mindset. It's the same thing you gotta do. You will not tap into your next level of greatness, focusing on what you always had, focusing on what you always been, always seeing yourself from the perspective of your fears, your insecurities, your doubts. This is your moment to break out of that. The last thing I want to share with you in this Profitable Author series that I'm going to be doing is, if you don't take anything from this video, understand this. This is the best time to be alive. Your problems do not define you. You're not going to change through motivation. You're not going to change just because you feel like you deserve it. Your change starts with a decision. And over these next couple of days, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can take your fears and your insecurities and turn them into assets. And no, it's not through any mindset tricks. Unfortunately, I am in the process of learning what I'm going to share with you, and I'm still learning some of them, because the truth be told, y'all, I mean, it's an unfortunate truth, but there's so many people are consumers today that change is so easy, but it's only easy to the person who really want it. And some of us are addicted to our trauma. Some of us are addicted to fear. Some of us are addicted to the limitations because we always had them. God knows I was. You got to let that crap go. And you're not going to let it go staying connected to fear-based thinking people. You're not going to let it go staying connected to people who always see what you've been. You're not going to let it go by only listening to people in conversations that don't inspire the best out of you. You gotta want more out of life, and you can't teach that. It's really unfortunate, that truth, because God knows, some of us, we got a heart, we want to help the world. There's some people you just can't help. I was listening to one brother, he was sharing about how he was trying to help this lady, and did everything for her, got in a home and everything. And I think like a month later, she lost it because she was addicted to drugs. And he overlooked the fact that, yes, she needed a home, but she needed to get off of drugs first. But because he's seen the kids, he just thought, man, if she get a home, she'll change. Unfortunately, she didn't. Some people don't have it in them to change, not even for their family, not even for their kids, not even for their spouse. This is a moment, some people, you gotta change for you. You gotta want to stop accepting the limitations that you always had. You gotta stop getting angry with other people because you think you're called for more, but yet you ain't even acting on what you're called about, but you want somebody else to be in agreement with you. You gotta be in agreement with yourself, trusting what God already put in you. That's what I'm doing, y'all, even as I create this content, y'all. I write down my ideas every day. I write down my vision. Even with this, I just came up with this idea, I think yesterday, and I'm putting it together and putting it out there. You gotta run the risk of failure. You gotta let go of this idea that you will not fail. You gotta have courage in this season. There's a book called Power versus Force, and he talks about the levels of consciousness. And he says all change begin on the ground level of courage. Underneath courage is where he called it force, which is a level of consciousness that is pushing against you, like shame. Shame is at the bottom. It's envy, fear, then pride, and then above that is courage, and above courage is like enlightenment, willingness. But the point he makes in that book that always stuck with me is, no matter who you are, the foundational ground of change, y'all, is courage. So after you get done having your faith, you believe that God called you for more. You believe that there is more in you. You have not experienced in the life that God called you to experience, and you know that there's more in you. After all that praying, after all that belief, if it doesn't empower and feed the level of courage that you have to take action, it ain't never gonna happen, y'all. And you gotta let go of how people perceive you. Like me, I'm gonna go to work in a little bit. I gotta do these before work because that's the only time I have. Stop making excuses. If you are serious about your next level, you gotta find a way. You gotta get around people, even if it's digitally, that have that mindset. You have to have the courage to change. And in this series, I'm gonna share with y'all frameworks for breakthrough. breaking through your fear, breaking through your doubt, breaking through being seen inferior to somebody who don't understand you. Like, anyways, why do you care how you're perceived by other people? You got to challenge why you even care. You know, my wife and I talk about this all the time, which is like, don't let a negative emotion pass you by without asking yourself, well, why do I even feel like that? I had to ask myself when I was struggling with being a people pleaser. I had to, like, why? Why do I always feel like people gotta be comfortable, they gotta be okay? I didn't understand it. For years I did that, until for me, I found out that at the root of my people pleasing was I struggle with low self-worth. So me helping other people was really making me feel better about myself. Now let me tell you something. It's a good thing to help people, but it's a bad thing to help people because you don't feel worthy. You got to deal with that unworthiness, and I had to deal with that myself. You may have to deal with that. You may be a people pleaser. You may struggle with fear. No matter what it is, don't suppress that emotion and that feeling. Educate yourself. The word of God says, I think in Ephesians 5:17, be not unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is. I believe that it's God's will for you to understand why your trauma, your insecurities, you may not get it at first, but just having the mindset to be like, you know what? This is an impediment to my growth. God, help me understand this. You may not even need to understand it to break through it, but just being open to want to understand it, I found, opens you up for bigger vision for yourself, a greater strategy for yourself. It opens you up to have the courage to fight, because there's some things that you gotta fight. There may be something that you are fearful to fight in this season that's been staring at you in the face, and you trying to find everything else to fight just to distract you, but there's something right in front of you that you gotta fight, that you're avoiding. Stop avoiding the fight. People who avoid fights is always the one to get punched in the mouth. Sometimes you gotta swing first, and that may go against your whole personality. But who cares? Take action on your ideas and trust God. All right, I pray this bless you. I see y'all next time with this Profitable Author series. All right, peace.